Hey there, in today's video, I am starting with red, which is my least favorite color. So I would challenge you to figure out what your least favorite color is and do a bunch of backgrounds and then work over the top. Now, hey, listen, the reason I did that was because I was at the end of a tube of this cadmium red medium, and I don't know why, because I don't use red very often, but I just decided I'm just gonna use the rest of the tube and put it on, made some backgrounds in my art, in various art journals. And then I wanted to challenge myself to actually use that. And some of them, the red is just barely peeking through, and some, the red is showing up more than others. And I feel like as I got going with it, I embraced the red a little bit and did more, I was a little bit more creative. In the beginning, I think I was a little timid and I wasn't really sure how to incorporate the red into what I was doing. But I will say, whatever it is, if brown is your least favorite color or gray or whatever, it is interesting to try to use that to kind of expand. Now, I will say in general, I'm gonna stick to the color palette that I like, but sometimes it's good to step out of that because you just don't know what kind of result you might get. So anyway, I would suggest that you give that a try, particularly if you're at the end of a tube of paint like I was, and you just kind of want to get rid of it. Now, I do have more reds available. I do like mixing them with green to kind of dull down my grains sometimes. There's a lot of ways to use colors that don't have to be just traditionally straight out of the tube. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily getting rid of colors you don't like, but this is just an experiment or a way to try something new. And so anyway, I hope you guys will give it a try, pick your least favorite color, and just kind of go for it. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Now that I have this all out in front of me, I feel a little nervous about getting started and kind of wishing I had just done this privately versus on camera, but that's okay. So I have used up the end of this red paint, a color that is not typically in my color palette, something that I use. I might use like this red oxide or some of these duller kind of reddish, orangish colors, but I don't typically use like a cadmium red, dark or medium. I'm not sure which one this is because I used up all the paint and I threw the tube away. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stick to this color palette, which is black, Mars black, titanium white, yellow oxide, red oxide, and a raw umber. And I grabbed some soft pastels and some oil pastels. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. I also have some charcoal off to the side and a pencil and mark making tools. I'm not really sure how I want to approach this. I've given it a little bit of thought, but not a tremendous amount. And I think that's the thing with art. You just got to go for it. You can't overthink it because then it becomes, I don't know, scary. Your perfectionism or your resistance kicks in, and that's kind of what's happening right now. So instead of turning the camera off, I'm just going to go for it. What I decided to do for this first one, just to get me going, and I will say on camera, this red looks a little redder or brighter than it is in person. So I don't know, you know, cameras don't always reflect the accurate color as accurately as any of us would like. But anyway, I think I'm going to go with something kind of like a Mark Rothko kind of, you know, he did swatches of color, not really swatches, but like big areas of color. Very kind of a lot of times very similar. It was very easy and simple. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, I got to start with something easy because I will never get past the first one if I don't. So for that one, I'm just going to paint some swatches of color. Mostly I'm going to do these quiet. I will add some music to it, which you can mute and just watch the process. You can also speed up the process because I know some people kind of get hung up on those things. So I'm going to get started, and we'll just see where it goes. And I may or may not talk or stop this and talk through it, but most of it should be fairly self-explanatory. Okay, that was about as easy as you can get. You can see I covered up most of the red, but it is popping through a little bit. And now I'm wondering if I don't want to come in and make that, that border not black, but maybe a brownish color. So I'm just gonna go back over that. But I think kind of what I'm feeling is the red oxide. I'm trying to get my words out as I'm doing this. I'm not sure if I like that better. I can always go back over that. The red oxide is really more orange. But I do feel like the red is kind of popping through, even if you can't see it. And I think I will go back to that kind of brownish, blackish color, but I kind of wanted to add some depth to it because I felt like it was a little bit flat. Although Rothko, and this is Rothko inspired, his stuff, it is pretty basic, but the color choices he made and the way he did it was, you know, genius. So this is my simple version as a way of getting started. Actually, you know, I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm just, you know, I can't, I'm too much myself. I can't stop it. I'm gonna bring in a little bit of that. I gotta mess it up. He was able to kind of keep it clean. I don't like that. So there you go. That feels more like me. And maybe, yeah, you can't really see that, but I'm scratching through and getting a little bit of that red, and even putting some of this other color, this red oxide, onto the darker color. And that to me that's the part where you can be inspired by somebody, but at the same time you're like, okay, I can't do it exactly like he did it because my self comes out in the art that I'm making. So that's what I want for you, is for your art to come out in the way you're doing it, not doing it exactly like me or Mark Rothko or whoever, Alice Monet or whoever you're following. It's more like, what can I do to be inspired by somebody and then still make it my own? So this is my messy version of starting with red, and I feel like it's kind of got me in the flow. I made a big mess of my palette, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen over here, but I'm going to continue, and I'm not going to bring in that. I'm not going to find the cadmium red. I'm just going to stick with what I have, and we'll see where it leads in the next one that I do. And I think what I'll do is, unless there's something to talk about, because none of the other things, I'm going to just respond to the page. I don't have some big inspiration. I needed somewhere to start, and this seemed like a simple place. And so I needed some inspiration for that. But I think moving forward, I'll just see what happens, and you can follow along and watch the process. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and I'll try another one.